guest is a lady that from her own personal experience started a social enterprise and recently was awarded with a very prestigious award in the West Midlands. We welcome Raj Holness, owner of the Breaking Silence. Raj, thank you so much for coming on Cuppa TV.
Thank you for having me.
Wonderful to see you. I mean, these awards, they're just coming and coming, aren't they? The awards you've had. But before we get to that, Raj, just tell us a little bit about how your social enterprise started.
Yeah, it started basically from personal experience. I went through domestic abuse with my family. And after years of suffering every sense of the word abuse, I escaped when I was 20. That was the second time I left home, and that time I left under police protection. Family, obviously I disgraced them and dishonoured them, so they were out to basically retrieve back their honour, and that would be by killing me. So I managed to escape and lived in every form of refuge you could find. Had to keep moving because my family kept finding me. Suicidal most of my life, hated who I was, what I'd been, what I'd gone through. Couldn't quite erase that out of my mind, especially the sexual abuse. So for years I stayed silent. For years I blamed myself, for years I was ashamed. So I couldn't tell anyone because who's going to believe me, especially when my family are so well known and respected in the community. Nobody's ever going to really believe me. So I suffered in silence for years, to the point where I think the last straw was when I'd left home and my partner then nearly killed me. And that's when I realised this is not life, this is not for me, this is not my all. Had an encounter with God, and from there became a Christian, and that's where my life completely changed. I found hope from all my life wanting to end it to now wanting to live it. A big difference.
You've changed your life around completely, haven't you, Raj?
Yes, I have.
So from your personal experience,
Yeah.
And thank you for sharing that with us, you've set up the Breaking the Silence. So tell us a little bit about that.
Breaking the silence is what it says, is to break the silence, and we basically want to encourage others to break the silence. You know, domestic abuse is such a taboo topic in so many communities, and we want people to know that it's okay to share, and there's somebody here that will believe you. We deal with domestic abuse, forced marriages and human trafficking, and we try and raise an awareness in different ways. You know, we hold theatre events, we do events that will honour survivors and encourage them and celebrate them for being able to come out and change their life, and encourage others that are in the same process or contemplating going back to the perpetrator. And we've also just set up a training program that we're taking to schools and educate them from the children to the adults.
Yeah, because that's very important, I would imagine, to have that sort of awareness. Because,
Yes.
as you say, domestic abuse is perhaps seen as something that, you know, often goes under the radar, but affects both men and women, of course.
Absolutely.
And was it important to you that you engaged with all the communities, Raj, when
Yes,
you did
it
this?
was. Yes, it was. And our group is such a mixed group. We have people from all over walks of life, different backgrounds, different ethnicities, to come together and see how we can reach the wider community and get others to be encouraged to break the silence like we have.
And what's the most important part of your role, Raj, do you see?
To give hope, because I think without hope there's not really much there. And when you see others that have come through, it encourages you to say, actually, that's not my portion, and I don't have to end my life and that's going to be it. Actually, to know that there is support and help out there, and once you find that hope, and that gives you that fight to make something of yourself rather than believing what everybody's ever spoken into your life and done to you, that's not your portion.
And when you're dealing with, you know, men and women, when you see the men and women, I assume, you know, is there a common sort of theme when they come to you to sort of first tell their story? Is there a common theme to their story, Raj, or do you see lots of different people from lots of different walks of life?
I mean, we see lots of people from lots of walks of life, and that's really encouraging that people are starting to speak out. The common denominator that you find for most of them is that their self-worth is zero. And you can imagine years of suffering in silence. They first lose themselves. And that's what, one of the main questions that people ask is, why do people stay in it? Why don't they just get up and go? And it's easier said than done. We all in our life have always said, I will never let this happen to me, or I'll never do that. And when you find yourself in a situation, you find that it doesn't just happen overnight. You don't just have a partner or family member that decide, you know what, well, let me just punch you around a bit. It starts with the emotional, it starts with the psychological. When they break you down that way, then the physical takes place. So it's not always as easy, and you find that by the time the women or men come to you and ask for help, they've come to that realization of this isn't my all, and they want that help, but it's to build them back up slowly.
And what sort of things do you provide? What sort of help? You say you go into schools and things like that. What else do you provide them with?
We do different things. Like we said, we did this theatre production that we just did last year, and we're hoping to do another one.
Tell us about that.
We did a theatre called When I Grow Up, and it was a young girl's perspective of her watching her parents and her mum being abused by her dad. Which we're hoping to put back on again as we've had the demand for it, hopefully by the end of this year, early next year. And it gave a real perspective, not watered down. Because I think what happens is we try and be politically correct, or we try and think, oh no, we can't show that, or we can't share that much information because it's too much for people. But these people are living it on a day-to-day basis. And I think until you see the reality of what domestic abuse is, and it doesn't necessarily mean physical abuse. It can be financial, it can be psychological, and it's showing the impacts of actually even the children suffer, whether they're physically getting abused or not, but what they're seeing their parents go through. They either become the same, or they end up being abused themselves through it.
And you deal with human trafficking
Yes.
as well, and forced marriages.
Yeah.
And again, these are issues that, do you feel people just don't speak about them?
No. I mean, I went through 2 forced attempted marriages, and it's only because I left on both occasions before I ended up getting married. Especially in Asian culture, we're taught that that's what our portion is. We're going to have an arranged marriage. There's a difference between an arranged marriage and a forced marriage. And we as Asians sometimes get that confused.
Tell us about that. Can you just
arranged marriage is a mutual agreement. It's a third party that's come together that knows both parties, and it's a mutual agreement between both male and female. They've seen each other, they like each other, and they've agreed mutually, yes, I want to marry you, yes, you want to marry me. Forced marriage is where sometimes you don't even get to see the person. And even if you've seen the person, you don't even get a choice. You're marrying that person whether you like it or not. And in both situations, for mine was the case. One was from India, the other one was in the UK, and both I never even almost liked, but never got asked if I wanted to marry them. But it was forced upon me that I had to, because that's what they had agreed.
So for the young generation then, it must be very important for you, Raj, to make sure that that message goes across.
Yes.
And what do you say to the young girls that come to you and the young men that come to you?
It's showing them that we have a say. Yes, there's culture, and yes, there's tradition, but we're a life, and that life matters. And marriage is a big thing. It's a big, massive commitment. And to get married, especially forced, and you have to be in that for the rest of your life, that's a big pill to swallow. And it's letting them understand that actually you are able to say yes or no, and it's your free will. We're given that free will, and we need to exercise that free will. And that's what I encourage young ladies that I speak to, especially, and men, because you find that even some men don't even get that choice. Actually speak up, it's okay. And there's support around, and now it's illegal. The laws come out that you can't be forced into any marriage. So you have the law to back you up in that now as well, which helps.
So how do you see the sort of future of breaking the silence, Raj? What would you like to do?
Oh, wow.
Storm the world.
Where can I go? I want to see eventually that there's no need for breaking the silence. That's what I would love. That at some point that we don't need to have these places open up. but actually we become a society.
Raj, it's been a pleasure to meet you. I'm sorry you're going to have to leave it there, but come back and join me again on Cuppa TV. Thank you so much. We're going to take a quick break now, but come back and join me in just a minute. Welcome back to Cuppa TV. I'm now joined by Leigh Perry, Principal and Trustee of Dorridge Music School. And with her today are the fabulous Rat Pack, who are also going to be performing live in their studios. Welcome everyone to Cuppa TV. It's so full. I feel like an applause in these, you know what I mean? So lovely to see you. So we've got Leigh, wonderful to see you, and we've got Faye, and you're head of vocals, Faye, aren't you, at the DMS school? And then gentlemen, introduce yourselves.
David O'Lacey,
Fantastic.
Frank Sinatra in the Rat Pack.
Wonderful. And
Des Coleman, I play Sammy Davis.
wonderful.
And Paul Drakeley, I play Dean Martin.
Wonderful. So, Leigh, let's start with you. Let's come up with you. So, tell us a little bit about it's DMS actually. It's
DMS,
now known, isn't it?
actually. Yeah, we've graduated this year because it's our 30th anniversary to DMS Heart of England Music Academy, based in Knoll, and we've got our 30th anniversary concert at Symphony Hall, 4th of October.
Which is why the guys come in, of course.
Yes.
So, 30 years, Leigh, of doing your school. And again, well, tell us a little bit about what you do there. Perhaps, Faye, you could just tell us, because you're head of vocals there at the school, aren't you?
I'm head of vocals and musical theatre at the school, and we teach lots of different instruments as well. And that's from adults and to child. So yeah, it's really
wonderful. And do you feel that music is really important, Leigh, for children? Is it something you've noticed over in your years of experience?
Yes, very important. And we go into local schools as well and teach them within the schools. We're an examination centre. And of course they have the chance to perform, which is brilliant as well. It's not all about exams, is it?
Yes, that's it. And the children seem to thrive, don't they, when they're put in music? I mean, there's been lots of studies, haven't there, with children with autism and children who, you know, perhaps find difficulties at school. When you give them music, it seems to just bring them alive. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, a lot of my students actually are dyslexic. And they have a flair for music, so it really helps.
Wonderful. And gentlemen, let's bring in the guys. So let's start with you. So David, tell us about how the Rat Pack formed?
Well, we're the longest running Rat Pack show in Europe, I think. This is our 18th year we're celebrating, and we've been together at this cast for over 10 years. Wow. I started the show, and there's been other guys over the years, but after all that time, we're still having a great time on the road, and it's just
enjoying
touring non-stop. Yeah.
Wow, and guys at the back there. So, I want to say Sammy. So, Des, tell us a little bit about how you got involved.
Literally, I've been doing a lot of musical theatre in my career, and then Dave and I came in contact, and we just got on. And when we decided to work together, you know, it's sort of flourished since then. And but it's one of those, you know, it's a bit of a cliche, but when you do something that you love and then you get to travel, it's just a really exciting profession to be in.
Yeah, and is that was the same for you as well?
Absolutely, yeah. We all met, and the beauty of our sort of working environment is we get on so well as friends.
Yeah, I mean, the Rat Pack. I mean, for those of our younger viewers who might not remember, you know, Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr. But it's still a very iconic era, isn't it, for music, and still one that people still relate to, I think. And was it important for you, Leigh, to have that kind of impact when you're going to the Symphony Hall?
Very much so. I mean, the audience at Symphony Hall, as you know, it's a very prestigious theatre, 2,200 seated theatre, and the audience literally range from 4- or 5-year-old children to retired people, and we try and cover everything within the show. So we've got musical theatre, we've got Rat Pack, we've got something like Uptown Funk, you know, all kind of eras of music as well.
Wonderful. And the show's got on the 4th of October. And again, prestigious for the West Midlands, because obviously we're based here in the West Midlands, but presumably you go all across the country, do you guys, with your...
And Europe and worldwide.
And worldwide.
Yeah. We played Vegas, Dubai.
Vegas.
All
and you're
over,
here
really.
on Cuppa TV. What can I say?
Enjoying it immensely.
Yes, Vegas or Cuppa TV? Cuppa TV, absolutely. Right answer. But again, are you looking forward to it though, to doing this performance?
We really are. I mean, we're going to have a great band in October with members of staff and I think students, which
So
is
everyone's going to be
fantastic,
involved.
you know. And we've never played the Symphony Hall.
Oh,
over
wow.
the years, seen so many acts. So we played the Alex in Birmingham, played a lot of big theatres in the Midlands, but not the Symphony Hall. So it is a special night for us too.
Wonderful. So it's going to be a wonderful night. Well, but we're not going to leave you there because you're going to perform. So guys, you're going to actually disappear and you're going to come back as the Rat Pack, which I'm going to love. And ladies, you're going to perform for us as well. So just tell us what you're going to perform, Faye.
I'm going to perform a song called Make You Feel My Love, which is by Adele.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, then we look forward to that. Thank you.
When the rain is blowing in your face and the whole world is on your case, I could offer you a warm embrace to make you feel my love. When the evening shadows and the stars appear and there is no one there to dry your tears, I could hold you for a million years to make you feel my love. I know you haven't made your mind up yet, but I would never do you wrong. I've known it from the moment that we met, no doubt in my mind where you belong. I'd go hungry, I'd go black and blue, and I'd go crawling down the avenue. No, there's nothing that I wouldn't do to make you feel my love. The storms are raging on the rolling sea and on the highway of regret. The winds of change are blowing wild and free. You ain't seen nothing like me yet. I could make you happy, make your dreams come true. Nothing that I wouldn't do. Go to the ends of the earth for you to make you feel my love. To make you feel my love.
Here's a song that was introduced by the great talent of Liza Minnelli. Kander and Ebb wrote it, Don Custer arranged it, and it was stolen by you know who. Chicago
Oh, wrong song.
start spreading the news. I am leaving today. I want to be a part of it. New York, New York.
These vagabond shoes are longing to stray, to step around the heart of it. New York, New York.
Sam.
I want to wake up In a city that never sleeps. And find I'm a number one, simply top of the heap.
My little town blues,
His little town blues.
they have drifted away. I'm gonna make a brand new start of it
You tell him, Frank.
in old New York.
If we can make it there, we'll make it anywhere. It's up to you. New York, New York.
Holla, holla, holla. Hubba, hubba, hubba.
Yeah.
In New York, I wanna wake up in that city that never sleeps, and then find I'm a number one, top of the list, king of the hill, a number one.
These little town blues are melting away. Yes, they are. We're gonna make a brand new start of it.
Where, Sam?
I'll tell you, in old New York.